I was driving through the South once before satellite radio when you drove around the
and
country.
you had to change
You had to actually take in the culture as you drove.
The local
just
asshole.
listening to you guys and 70s hits from fucking coast to coast. I listened to, you get to like Missouri or Mississippi or wherever it is, and you go, I got one channel, and it's the fucking preacher.
Right.
And so I'm listening to this Christian radio. I think I was in Missouri. And they had a show. It was late at night, a talk show, and it said we're gonna talk about our single friends. We're all in families because we're God's children and because we're Christians. But what about your single friends? You love your single friends. They're part of your family. Some people, they just end up single and they're not going to change. They're not going to have kids. How do we make them part of the picture? It was actually a really interesting call. So then people start calling in. We have a friend who's single and he's with us every Christmas. We treasure him. He's a big part of our lives. Then guys start calling in. I'm single.
Yeah, of course.
And I love the families that I'm part of. I'm the uncle. And I realize in the South, single means gay.
Means
it's like
gay.
It's a polite, in the really Christian South, people that grew up gay, they just call you're single.
Yeah,
because
I know.
Because you'd be married because that's what you do.
Yeah.
If you're in that heavy religious area. And single would be gay.
And they don't want to acknowledge that they're just
That's
gay.
hilarious.
You're not in a family.
What about the
closed-minded
single
assholes.
people?
Single. And they are. The story was really, what do you do with your gay friends?
Yeah. You just
I mean, they're not doing
ostracize
what they're
them.
supposed to do, but we still, know them and you love them. What do you do about it? Well, you have them over for Thanksgiving, I love being single.
Then back to
And allow them to
exile.
bring their friend over, right?
Oh, no.
He's got other single friends.
His single friend.
He's bringing his friend over today. His friend.
His single friend, and he's sucking his single.
That is a whole nother world down south like that because, not very tolerant of things like that.
There are some Southern gays who end up here.
Yeah.
Or find a center of gayness to be part of.
Yes.
But then there's other ones who just stay in the South and they stay embedded in that culture.
It's odd that
they're called single. They don't know. And at some point they start living with the guy and that's John and Mark. They live together.
They're roomies.
Yeah, roomies.
That's it. They're, we did a story years ago about those two guys that were old guys.
Elmer and...
Yeah. It was Elmer and some other... And they were celebrating, like, how long they had been together. And because it was like 60 years or something.
Elmer and Gus.
Elmer and Gus.
The longest... They
had just been together for
forever. The oldest gay couple in New York or something.
It was
They
crazy.
had some kind of distinction.
But we had to think back that, like, it must have been so difficult. And they actually met during the war or some shit.
In the 40s.
And we're like thinking, they come back and they're profiled on some newsreel where it's like, look at these two fellas, ladies. They're here looking for fresh back from the war.
Yeah.
They're available. Yes, they live together. You could double date with a couple of these ladies. Look at this. Yes, eligible bachelors. And like just completely not knowing they're just ass fucking every night and loving it.
Well, I think
saving money on the water bill by showering together.
Very economical. Stuff they must have learned in the military.
Yes.
They bought a nice little house together in Levittown.
He puts his penis in his anus in the 40s.
Yes. Come on, girls. It must have been rough back then. Wow.
Well, I met a guy who was like 95 upstate, and he, when
Single?
my ex and I had lived up there, and he told us his life story. And part of it was
Must have taken a while.
well, at some point,
That's a long weekend.
he told us at some point he got to a part where he moved in with his brother-in-law. He said, and then my brother-in-law moved in together, and then me and my brother-in-law got this new house. Like he lived
with,
and I think brother-in-law was a code thing back.
That's
Who
like
lives with
single.
their brother-in-law?
Yeah, who lives with their brother-in-law?
What does that make any
What
sense?
is that?
Your sister's husband?
Yeah,
you
really?
live with just the two of you?
Yeah, where's the sister?
It's just my brother-in-law and I lived
Brother-in-law.
together.
Brother-in-law.
I think that was a code
He was basically
word for
telling
gay
you
at one time.
Back in the day.
Did you know he was gay?
What?
Did you know he was gay?
I think that guy would never have in a million years said out loud, I'm
Fessed
gay.
up to it, but
He lived with his brother-in-law. They probably shared 50 years of life together.
Oh, wow.
Put pretty much every drop of cum into one another for all that time. But if you said, "Are you gay?" he'd be like, "What are you talking about? What
It's my
kind of thing is that
brother-in-law.
to
You
say?"
said
Yeah. Brother-in-law, that is an odd thing. I guess so, yeah, over the years, it's had to have been different terms. I mean, gay was happy and gay before it became gay. Queer was just something a little odd.
You wouldn't identify something like that.
No.
It's just something that happened, I think.
Yeah, because even that in old movies you hear, it's like, wow, that situation's a bit queer.
Yeah.
You know, and then
think
queer
twice about it.
became, hey, I think he's queer. It's the first
I
guy
don't know
that
what
used
it
that
was
one.
back
Must have
then.
gotten a good laugh, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, see those two guys? I think they're queer. You just call them queer. That's hilarious.
That's a great way to put it. They are.
That's hilarious. They
Let's
are
start
queer.
using that.
And then someone else hears it. It's like, wait a minute, my friend, I think he made that up.
Spreads like wildfire.
Yes.